Am I live yet? Hey, y'all. Give me a second to make sure I'm live everywhere. Oh, I didn't even check my mics yet. Y'all, this is week 2 of Family Finder Fridays. And so last week we had a great time. This week we're going to have a good time. I do have 2 guests lined up for this week. I'm actually streaming live on 3 different places on Facebook, 2 different places on YouTube. Yeah, I think that's it. It's a total of 5 or 6 places that I'm currently streaming at. So whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on one of my 3 to 4 Facebook pages, no matter where you type, I'll be able to see the questions here. But today, what we're going to talk about, well, the main topic today is all about having support when you're finding that loved one, as well as how to cope with rejection. I do have 2 guests that will be joining me today. One, I know for a fact will be here, but the other one, I'm not for certain. The guest that will be joining us today is one of my clients. She actually stepped in, last week and was a part of the conversation. But I want to let her share her entire story this week. And I'm sorry I'm distracted, but I didn't get to test out my mic. So what I'm going to do really quick is look at these comments. And if y'all can hear me fine, just kind of let me know. Just type it anywhere, wherever you're watching. And let me go on Facebook to see if I can hear. Except yes, I'm sorry, last week. Okay, there we go. Here. Hey, Melanie. Melody, I saw you, Melanie. I'm going to tag you on here as well, Melody. Hold on. Special guest. Hang in there. I'm not sure. Okay. Child, this thing do what it want to do. Melody Richards. Okay. All righty. Melody, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up.
Okay.
You said I'm going to do it up this week.
Yeah. You can't be that.
I'm trying to tag you. Hold on. Like I said, one day I am going to have an admin to handle all of this part so I can just focus on the call chat. Okay, all righty. So thank you for joining me again, Mel. I was just sharing with everyone that today is going to be, well, first let me introduce myself because I'm going to cut all of this off when I do the recording. But my name is Tawana Houston. I am the founder of Connect LLC. Connect LLC is a family DNA investigative firm. I specialize in helping people connect with their lost loved ones, specifically their biological parents and siblings. I've been doing this for over 15 years. Most of that was free for the community. In the past 4 years, I have converted it to a business. I absolutely love it. I'm having extensive background in the corporate space when it comes to research, skip tracing, you name it. And so this is a true passion of mine. I absolutely love it. I love bringing people closure. I love answering their questions, giving them the answers that they need. So I decided to put this call together so that I can help those that are out there that don't know where to start. Maybe you were adopted and have no idea who your biological parents are, or maybe you know who they are, you just don't know how to find them. You may have some basic information. I get a lot of questions from people that ask, do I have to have a name? Do I need to know where they're from? Their name is common. And there's so many people I helped that had no name whatsoever, starting from scratch with nothing. So what I wanted to do is just have this call every week. I never know what type of questions are going to come out of it. We're just going with the flow. So this is week 2 of Family Finders. It's at 8 o'clock every Friday. And you can always go to the website that you see there, connectllc.com, and anonymously put questions there. And then I'll answer them live. Or you can always jump on StreamYard if you want to get your questions answered live. You can watch it on YouTube. I have 2 business pages here on Facebook as well as my personal page. You can also watch it on LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching it, just type it in the chat and I'll see the comments right here. So today I have Miss Melody here. I'm not sure if Miss Gwen is going to come, but she's trying to get on.
Yeah, she's trying. She said something about the app.
Oh, she's probably going to have to. And it is, if she does it from a computer, it's web-based as well.
She's trying to do it from her phone.
Okay, well, that's fine. She can do it from her phone. I believe I've never jumped on from my phone, but we'll see. Okay, so let's get to it. Mel, you want to just introduce yourself really quick?
Well, I'm Mel. I've been on a journey of searching for my biological father. With the help of Miss Houston, I'm getting closer. We're getting closer. I've been trying to do it by myself for a while, and I just got fed up because I was like, everywhere I go, I just feel like it's a dead end. And I said, I'm just going to pay you to do it. So.
And that's what we're going to talk about here, because last week you were on and Miss Jackie was on, so we touched on a few things, but I really want people to understand like the mindset of when you start the process. What do you go through when you're doing it on your own, and when you get to the point where you feel like you need to bring somebody in the fold. So I want to really bring that out in this setting here, because I really feel like most of the questions I do get starts right there. Like them just getting the nerve to take that step. So the first question I would like to ask you, I'm gonna put it up here on the screen. Hopefully it's not too big to fit here. So hopefully everybody can see that question there, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll be able to see it, hopefully. So Mel, this is for you. What inspired or motivated you to begin the search for your biological father? Was there a particular event or something that sparked your interest? What was it that made you look for your biological father? Or how did you even know that you needed to find one?
So what happened was, I was raised by an amazing guy who took care of me like I was his very own child. He got sick with dementia, and I ended up taking care of him for the last 5 years of his life. But 2 years into taking care of him, like 2.5 years, I was like, yeah, I don't think he's my biological father. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, I don't see no features. So I just took the test. I took the DNA test, and when it came back, I was like, I don't know none of these people. None of these people look familiar, sound familiar. There's no connection to him. So that right there was like a huge flag for me. Like, okay, so I know he's not my biological father, but he was an amazing guy. He took care of me. I loved him. He loved me. There was no love lost. But who is my father? Where do I come from? What is my history?
Did you ever get a chance to ask him that question? The one that raised?
Nope.
So in his mind, he left this world believing that you were.
No, I believe he knew that I wasn't his. I believe he knew, but he just never told me.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, your sister, she just messaged here. She's actually on Facebook watching. So
okay.
She couldn't get on here. So Gwen, if you could figure out how to jump on, that'd be great, because I'd love for everyone to meet you. But the next question here is about your sister. Okay. So during this process, because we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit, because I thought she was going to be here. I would say this to the end. But feel free to type in the comments, Miss Gwen, and I'll highlight your comment if you would like to answer the question as well. So, Mel, so what was your initial reaction or emotional response when you learned that you had a sister that you knew nothing about?
I was happy about it. I was happy. I wanted her to be older, which she is, so I'm still a little sister.
You still the baby?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I can say, I mean, I was happy because I just knew going in anything was possible.
Okay, so tell everybody the age difference though. That right there, like the floor of me.
She's 70 and I am, in my mind, I'm 28, but I'm really 41.
So what are y'all, 20, what's it, 29 years? So basically 30 years apart.
Right, but she's amazing. I met her in person. She sweet. I love her.
And someone's actually calling my business line there. Okay. All right. Hopefully that you can still see me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All righty. So that's awesome. I mean, I have a sister 30 years apart. That is, I know that was a shocker. When we started the process and saw Miss Gwen, we were torn between whether she was an aunt or whether she was a half sister or not. But after a lot of process of elimination, we figured it on now. So that is a blessing. And on top of that, y'all look identical.
Yes, we do look.
I wish Miss Gwen was on here so you all could see her. But Miss Gwen posted her pictures for when she was younger, and she is a splitting image of Melody. Okay, so this is Miss Gwen said that she was shocked, but she loves her too. So that's a beautiful thing. You also knowing this, the first thing was, okay, if this is my sister, then bam, now I know who my father is.
Right.
So it's not always as simple as that. The beautiful thing about going down this path, in my opinion, is that you bless and help so many other people. This was all about Melody, starting off and identifying her biological father. But in this process, other individuals have found family members as well. So that's a beautiful thing. So initially, it may be a little uncomfortable because they're like, okay, I thought this was my father. But as they start to learn the truth, the memories start coming back. You know, they might have heard when they were younger that, okay, this might not have been your biological father. So I believe in full transparency. I believe that the truth needs to come out at some point so the cycle can end. It's very important for that cycle to eventually end and everyone knows exactly where they came from. Right. All right. So this next question that I have here, I'm going to put up on the screen. And this was about your sister too. So it's basically how has this relationship developed? Like, how often do you all talk? What has it been like? Like, what has the experience been like?
For me, it's like, I don't know, like we're girlfriends. Because I can just call her whenever, anytime, you know, she answers, and we just talk. We talk about life. We talk about, you know, just the shocking discoveries that we've made. Yeah, we talk about anything. It's it's crazy, but it's good because I feel comfortable talking to her. I feel as though she feels comfortable talking to me. Like we can talk about just about anything.
Let me check the comments here. Hey, Teresa. Gwendolyn, we're going to get you up here. So her sister is actually in the comments. Depending on where you're watching on Facebook, you'll see her. I'm in the comments there. But they look so much alike, you all. It's crazy. Okay, all righty. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the support you might have received during this process, as well as I really want this to be not 100% about rejection, but a lot of people experience rejection as they go through this process. And what I loved about working with you is that you have been amazing when it comes to handling the rejection. And I think the reason why you have done so well is because we can talk it through first. Some of the biggest mistakes that my clients make is that they reach out to family on their own. And keep in mind that when you do that and you don't talk through the what ifs, you could ruin a relationship with the one person that could have opened up so many doors for you as it relates to getting to those answers that you want. So what I love about you is that we can talk things through and come up with an approach that will be the most successful. And then even if you are still rejected, we come up with a plan to kind of go around that so that we can eventually get to it. So I want to make sure that we talk about rejection here. So where's my next question at? Okay. So before we go into that, I want to talk a little bit about your mom. So how has your relationship with your mother, you already smiling, influenced your decision to search for your biological father? Topic discussed with her before you started searching. And let me tell you the reason why I'm going down this path. Mothers are 80% of the time the reason why people do not either start the search or don't continue the search. A lot of clients will tell me, well, I don't know how my mother's going to feel if I do this. Oh, I can't ask my mom this because she may be offended, type of thing. So I think it's very important for people to know how to deal with those situations when they arise, and to know that it's their right to know the truth, and there are ways to kind of speak with your parent to get through it. So if you could just share what it was like on your end when it came to dealing with mom.
I'm going to be honest. In the beginning, looking into it, I didn't care how she felt. I just wanted answers. Now, it's like, I'll ask the questions, but I'll be joking with her when I ask them and stuff like that. And she'll answer them honestly, but sometimes I can tell when she's about to shut down and be like, oh, well, no, just shut down and not want to give me anything. But I'll just joke around with her, and she'll tell me the answer that I'm looking for. So that's how I've been getting my answers lately. Because at first it was just me being headstrong, like, okay, so who my father? Tell me who my father is. What do he look like? And is so-and-so your father? That's your father. And I'm like, no, DNA does not say that. I need the truth. When old folks, any man can make a baby, but it takes a real man to raise him. I get that. I appreciate his love, his care. He was amazing. But who am I biologically made up of? I wanted to know. So, yeah, beating around the bush, asking her that question, trying to get answers. In the beginning, it was tough because I was headstrong. But now I'm more relaxed. I can joke about it and crack jokes with her, and she'll give me answers.
Yeah, because I remember at the beginning when we first started this.
Yeah, she
did. We had a nice conversation there, boy. As soon as I got into it, she just hung up.
Who is this calling me? Who is that calling me? I said, you remember her? That's TT.
Asking me all these questions.
Once she realized who you was, she was like, oh, okay, all right.
So let's spin a little bit. I don't actually have this question documented, so I can't put it on the screen. But just talking to you reminded me of another client that I have that had serious medical issues. And he has an issue where it's with his heart. And so once we started the process of trying to identify who his family members were, because he was adopted, so he has no idea who his biological. Am I frozen or you frozen?
You frozen. We hear you, but you froze up.
Okay, so before I continue, y'all let me know in the chat. Let me look at the chat. Okay, if whoever's watching, if y'all can let me know in the chat if I'm frozen. Am I good? Am I frozen? Okay.
You're not frozen.
I'm not frozen now?
In and out.
Oh, look at that. Well, I'm going to keep flowing. If y'all are watching, if y'all feel like I'm frozen or something's going on, let me know in the chat. Okay. Ginger said she sees both of us really well. Just fine. Okay, cool. All right. So the gentleman that was adopted, we've been on the hunt looking for his biological parents, and we finally identified who his father is. Now we're trying to figure out who his mother is. Now, he has severe medical issues. Every last one of his uncles, except for 3 that are still living, died at a young age for heart issues, the same issue that he has. So, can you just talk a little bit about the importance of knowing where you come from for medical reasons? Because I know that's very important to you.
It is, because I do have health issues as well, and they are hereditary. So finding my biological father, it would be great for me to find him, especially to learn the history of the family as far as medically, because the issue that I have is not nowhere on my mother's side at all. Nobody has the issues that I have at all.
Yep. And just being able to tie that into, even if they're no longer here, just to hear from the family. Because the closer you get, you'll learn it. Like when they start telling you that such and such passed away, you can look on the death records and see why they passed away. You can ask their siblings how they passed away. And 9 times out of 10, it's something that you're personally dealing with. And so that's another way we can tell we kind of getting closer, especially when you're dealing with someone that has severe medical issues that's definitely hereditary. Okay, all right. So let's go on. Hey, Miss Teresa. All right. So the next question I have for you here. Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but how has she reacted to this? Other than hanging up on me, but does she want you to identify who your biological father is? Does she seem like she really cares? Or what has her reaction been?
I would have to say the person that she's saying is it. I don't see the connection. We're trying to connect it to be it, but it's not it. So just trying to get the truth out of her, even if that is her truth, if that's what she believes, it's not adding up. So, I mean, I can say she's kind of supportive, but I think she's in denial about who it could actually be. I mean, the fact that she is older, she may not remember, but I think she's in denial.
And let me use this moment to share a tip with you all. Now that we know that Gwen and Melody, who's in the comments, she's having tech issues, so can't figure out how to get on this live, but she's watching on Facebook. The good thing about identifying a sibling is that it really helps you with the process of elimination. Now, the two of them, they're 30 years apart in age. So who her mother told her is her father is only, what, 80?
He'll be 81 this year.
Yeah. And Gwendolyn is 70. So the person that we're looking for has to be old enough to be the father of Melody and Gwen, right? And of course, there has to be a DNA connection there. And it's just not there for this other gentleman. Unless he was adopted, unless he's sharing, you know, it could possibly be him. But if it is him, it's someone, he had to have had the wrong father as well, been adopted or something. And the list goes on. But from what I can tell, it's definitely not, it's not him. But we do have several leads in several directions that we can go. And that's why we're talking about rejection today, because we have faced it twice already, dealing with your paternal side. Okay, all righty. So let's go on to this part. And now we're going to get into talking about the rejection piece of it. So have there been any conflicts or misunderstandings between you and your mother related to the search? And we can skip that one. We already talked about. All right. So can you describe your initial experience when you first started searching for your biological father? And you can talk about this prior to partnering with me. What did you do on your own to try to find your father?
Well, after taking a test, you know, Ancestry, you can look to see like what cousins you know, what cousins you don't know. You can kind of pretty much, even if you just know your mother's side, like, you know, okay, that's my cousin. That's on my mother's side. I would look at the shared matches and I'm like, okay, I don't see this person on this side. So there was a person that came up on my page and I was like, this person got to be on my father's side because he's not on my mother's side at all. So I knew I was on the right side. But when I reached out to him, he was like, nope, he would not respond to me, would not talk to me. At one point, we were talking back and forth, and he thought that I was maybe kin to him on his father's side. And I was just like, I don't see the connection. I was getting frustrated. I don't know how to read the CM. So if you don't know how to read the CMs, you will be lost. Um, so I mean, like I reached out to Miss Houston several times, and she gave me some leads and said, "Hey, look at this, look at that," and I'm like, "No, I looked at it. I tried to look it up, and I was just like, you know what? I'm running to a dead end. I don't see the connection. I'm gonna pay you to do it because it was frustrating because I don't know how to read the CMs. I don't know how to read none of that stuff. And again, I can read it now some, but again, you if you're not detailed and you don't really know, you don't know because there's several options that one person could be from a CM.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Mm.
Okay, so the CM scores, and I think one day we can kind of do a screen share so you all can see that. You can let me know in the chat if you've ever done an ancestry test before, but that is most people's issues that they don't know how to read the report. And you have to keep in mind that a full blooded relative, and when I say full, you share the same parents versus a half is two different readings. So it's easy. So, Ginger, the CM score. So when you do the DNA test, it scores you based on percentage, your centimorgans, which is the CM, and it flags it with a potential relationship. So what that means is, so for example, if you were a full sibling, let's say me and Melody were full siblings, it will give us a score of about 2,800 and up, right? More than likely, it's going to be over 3,000 if you are full siblings. So that is going to tell us that, hey, that's my full sibling, or it could be a parent, right? But you'll know through process of elimination, or you'll know because you know who your parent is already. So some scores are very similar, like aunts. Full aunts are be about a 1,400, sometimes 1,200, and on up. Now, also you got to keep in mind that some people may have had blood transfusions or certain or other things health-wise that would have affected their DNA. So anytime that I reach out to a person, I do ask them that, especially if I'm looking at it like, wow, I really think this person could be it. Has this person ever had any type of blood transfusions? Did they donate blood? Like if it's a person that was always going to donate blood, that can affect their results as well. I have someone that happened to. So yeah. So, but it's still confusing to read. It's one thing to read it, but you have to know how to dissect it to make sure that the relationship that's showing on Ancestry is the accurate one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here. All right. So the next question I have for you, Miss Melody. Well, what were some of the specific challenges or rejections you faced during your search? Now, let's start with, you can start with whichever one you like, but the one that really rings a bell for me is the young lady that was the daughter of the father that your mother, the name that she gave us. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that. And then I do want to talk about how you dealt with it and so on. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I did not want to reach out to her. I think I told you I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. The guy's married to her mom. I didn't want. I told TJ I was like, I don't think we should reach out to him. I said they too close. Her and her mom are too close. They dressing alike. She in her 30s. They dressing alike. They like real cliquish. And I was like, nah. And this is just from observing via social media because everybody does everything on social media. So I'm like, I don't know, but I'll try. So reach out to her. She says no, wrong person. Reached out to the wife. She said the same thing and blocked me and did a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, this don't make no sense. Like, why would you just say wrong person? Mind you, the man know me. He knows about me. He used to come see me as a kid. He used to visit me, bring me things as a kid. So I'm not new to him. I might be new to them, but not to him. He does have several other kids outside of his marriage, but she's the only one with her mom. But like, why are you mad at me? Like, she just shut me out. Like, you got the wrong person. This ain't your father. Even when we reached out to a brother's wife, she told me to just forget about it. Are you serious? Just forget about it? You want someone to forget about finding their father? I'm not going to ever forget about that. I'm going to keep searching until I find him. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to forget about it. But that's just motivation for me to keep going.
Mm-hmm. There's two type of people you want to look out for, and it's just a tip for those watching when you're on the hunt: the oldest child and the youngest child, because that is they like that claim. They like to be able to say that they're the oldest sibling, and they love to be able to say that they're the baby. So if this person popped up out of nowhere and now stands a chance of them losing that I'm the baby crown, then they're going to give you issues. Also, if this man has a history of kids popping up outside the marriage, they're fearful of this hurting their mother even more. They don't want to deal with what they dealt with before, because this particular person was one of those outside children that she ended up having, if I'm not mistaken, what that he ended up with. But those are some of the things that you definitely want to think about. I think you handled it well. It's not over with dealing with that person, but you give them time to calm down and you find another way to work on around. The best way to get to people like that is DNA proof. Mm-hmm. There's no connection to that man whatsoever. But all you got to do is get to that younger generation, the family, because the wife was very open to sharing information, but she also said that that particular young lady was just dramas. She just made it clear that just leave that child alone, because you're not going to be anywhere with her. But just think about those things before you reach out to them. Just try to kind of get an idea of the type of person that they are. You can learn a lot about a person by reading their posts on social media.
That's true.
How they carry themselves, how they dress. You know, you can learn a lot about a person on social media way before you reach out to them. So try to do that. But don't give up when they reject you. Don't take it personal. Just kind of find another way to go around it. Let's jump right on and talk about the recent one. I don't define this as a rejection, but this is something that people would face a lot when they're looking for a loved one. And I will explain why, but kind of share the recent one when you went to visit somebody.
Okay, so first I called, left a message. I didn't get a response. Then I called one morning. Nobody answered. I left a message. That same particular day, I went to the house. Not even maybe an hour later, I went to the house, knocked on the door. The lady came to the door. She was like, I started not to answer the door. And she asked, who was I? I told her who I was. And she said, oh, you the one been calling. She said, I put you in a scammer box because I thought you was a scammer. You know, people be scamming people nowadays, especially the older people. And I told her, yeah, I completely understand that. I can assure you that I'm not a scammer. I'm just trying to find who my biological father is. And, you know, she asked me, and I was hurt when she said, well, why you want to find him now? Like, the person I'm asking about, he's deceased. Why now? He never told us about it. He said he couldn't have kids. And I just continued to talk to her and, you know, just keep talking to her. And, you know, people started walking by. So she was like, yeah, that's my neighbor. He cut the grass. And I said, well, you need somebody to cut your grass. You know, you got my number. Me and my boys, we don't mind coming by to cut your grass. Or, you know, you need somebody to go grocery shopping. We'll come by and go to the store for you. No problem. She said she'll keep the number. She'll call me. I said, I completely understand her not wanting to talk about it. and not wanting to deal with it. However, I respect it. But I just wanted to keep that open line of communication with her to let her know I'm not a scammer. I'm not a bad person. I'm just a young lady trying to find my biological father.
Yeah.
And it's not that I want anything or need anything. I would like to know medically what the family medical history is, but also I just want to know who my father is. I don't want my kids. I have kids. I don't want my kids dating their cousins or marrying their cousins. Like, I want to know who my family is.
And y'all all live right there in the same area together still. Okay. Now, this I don't really consider a rejection because they're older. Now, if this is a younger person, it's when they say no, it's a no normally. It's hard to get through the younger generation because they're normally open, extremely open to DNA testing. They want to know the truth. They know a lot of secrets have circulated through the family.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're dealing with an older person that's not as tech savvy, they're kind of stuck in their ways and they only see things through one set of lens. That's it. So you just have to stroke them for a while and drip on them a little bit, serve them. Like when you offer to go over there and cut the grass or go grocery shopping for her mom, because keep in mind, to give you guys a little more context, she's the woman that we would like to DNA test would be the sibling of Melody's potential father. So we would like to DNA test her, and she's 91 years old. Her daughter is 70 years old, and that's who Melody spoke with, and she never gave her the opportunity to actually speak to her potential aunt. So anyone from that line can DNA test. So she couldn't get to the 91-year-old, and she couldn't get through the 70-some-year-old. But I got a feeling that is not going to be an issue with her. I think the more she gets to know you, the more she'll open up. Now, I also want to share with you, because we're digging through other people that's on this side of the tree as well. And I want to make sure I say this the right way. The two individuals that we're struggling with getting information from and have this entire journey are pastors. That's very sensitive, especially when they have their own church. They are not doing any type of DNA testing. They don't want any type of secrets to come out that might have been from the past that will come back to haunt them. So that's kind of the scenario that she has as well. We have this other direct line that will take us right there. But because there is a pastor in the midst of that, it's just not, they're not going to test. So we have to find other ways to get around it. Mm-hmm. So be mindful of that. That's why it's important to study people first before you start calling and emailing and doing all these things. Make sure that you study them and respect boundaries. So if someone in the family is willing to help you and they're making it clear that don't go down that path, don't go down that path. As long as that person sticks with you and is willing to help you find other ways to get to the family, don't go down that path. Now, if they are keeping you from the family and they're not willing to help you, then you need to get your answers. Right. But if the person is willing to help you and they're like, this is a delicate situation, let's handle it with care, then respect that. Make sure those boundaries stay in place and you'll eventually get your answer. Just don't give up, and you just got to find a way to go around it. And that's exactly how we got to Betty, this scenario, and how you were able to go to her home yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Because of we found another way to go around. So even though we can't DNA test this pastor, even though we can't contact family affiliated with that pastor, we were able to go far enough back. I want to say all the way back to 1910 or something. We were able to go far enough back and to find out this person's last name to be able to connect it to this other last name. I don't want to say too much because we are, Facebook friends and things like that with some of the family we've met. So out of respect to them, Not going to say too much here, but yes. So just please, the biggest tip I can give you is when you are looking for a family is to study them. Mm-hmm. The biggest mistake you can make is see a name and instantly call it and just start babbling. Take the time to study, because that one person can take you so far if you handle the situation the right way. If you don't handle it and end up blowing up somebody's situation at home or exposing things a little too fast, it can blow up in your face and you won't get any answers at all, okay? So be mindful of that. Thank you for pushing that. Yes, that is very crazy, Miss Gwen. Ryan, retype that. Let me know what you mean when you say thank you for pushing that. Okay. Alrighty. So let me pull up this next one here. I don't think this is a big one for you per se, because I think you've been dealing with this for quite some time. So you kind of perfected how to handle your feelings. But there are people out there that need to know how to deal with it. So how did you cope with the rejection? Like, did you take it personal? Or I know you and I can always talk through it. So I think that really helps. And sometimes we be up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning talking these things through. I wake up in the middle of the night when something hits me. Okay, we need to follow this lead. And sometimes I get mad at Mail. I'll be like, Mail, you are all over the place. Like, stop it. We're going to follow this one lead until we see where it goes. And then once we can say this lead is no good, we're going to venture off. But yes, or else your mind would be so cloudy. So how do you deal with the disappointment?
Well, first off, I'm going to have to say, I always go into it thinking about the worst. What is the worst thing that could possibly happen? How am I going to handle it? I mean, even with just going to her house, trying to talk to her, even though she said no. I mean, I had a test there, willing to give it to her to take the test and everything. She said no. I was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go around it. I said, you know, you still have my number. Call me if you need me. Still reach out. I try to make any negative a positive. Whatever it is, I try to flip it and make it a positive.
There you go. And that's really all you can do is make it a positive. Like every scenario. Because when I onboard my clients, there's this questionnaire that I put them through when they book through my website. And so it's a series of questions that they answer. And I make sure that they check off the part that even when I do the Zoom with them like this, I meet with them on Zoom. I want to make sure that they know that there's a chance that their biological father or mother or whomever they're looking for may be deceased. Right. Or they may reject them. Now, if I speak with someone and they're saying, I don't want to deal with this, I'm not even telling my client about their father yet. I am dripping on this person like, listen, sir, it's not your fault. It's you didn't know anything about this child. You know, do you have other children? It means that, you know, they have siblings out there. I'm working on them first because my goal is to make that connection. Now, they just flat out bullheaded and just don't want to deal, which I've never experienced ever. Normally, the fathers are very open. Most of them have no idea that the child even existed. Most of the clients had someone else that's been raising them all this time and they found out later in life, or it's a scenario where they were adopted. And you all, I want to say 90% of the people who were adopted, the fathers didn't even know they had a kid that went into the system. So most of the outcomes are very, very positive. So Miss Ginger is asking, if you have a very little information, you have very little info, name, address, and found out that they're in rehab, how do you study them? Who is this person? This a lead that's taking you to the biological parent or the biological parent themselves? So I'm going to answer both scenarios. So if the parent that you're looking for is the person that is in rehab, then studying them is not a major focus. The people that you're studying are your leads. If you know the person you're looking for is right there, then you can just reach out to that person directly. Now, when you say rehab, you mean like they're in a rehab facility? like they're not coming home and going somewhere? Like, explain that to me a little bit. But if they're like in a home or a rehab facility or something like that, then there's someone that's handling their affairs. It's either one of their children, maybe a sibling, like somebody has a what do you call it? Is it an LOA? What do you call it? Power of attorney. They have a POA on them. And so you may need to reach out to that person and let them know that you think you found your father. Now, Ginger, you're out of New York. So I'm assuming you know exactly who you're looking for, because if it's an adoption situation, those records are open. So if you know that you found the right person, then I need more info for that, because I don't want to tell you to walk up in a rehab center. Let's see. It was just a name and address and last location. Is this an adoption situation, Ginger? Oh, yes. Okay. So her boyfriend's biological mom, her boyfriend was adopted. Let's start there. His biological mother is who she's saying was in the rehab facility. She lives in here, or she just goes and visits. If she has a PO, you can actually call there. That's what I would recommend. If it's a situation where you can call, like if it was an old folks home or something like that, a lot of them have no relatives or family that's taking care of them at all. So how about you call me, Ginger? Because I don't want to give you the wrong advice. Because I can't get, unless you want to jump on here and explain it. But just call me and we'll talk through it. But yeah, if you got all the information, just go there or look up her children and contact them. But that sounds like that's a really easy one there. But if she's in that rehab, she may have some issues where she can't remember what happened. I don't know the state that she's in, so I would say let's talk through that. Let's see. Gwendolyn said, my son finally told him about Melody. Yes, there were so many connections that were made before we got in touch with Gwendolyn, and we kind of talked about this last week. But I'm telling you, once you start your journey, it's so many blessings attached to it. It's so many other people you're going to help along the way. And that's what excites me the most. One case ends up helping so many people. Melody is still on a search for her father, but during this process, she found her nephew. She has a nephew because Gwendolyn has a son. Her son now knows who his biological father is and his family. He ended up with a new biological half sister that he didn't know anything about. So he's able to connect with that person. And Miss Gwendolyn has relationships that she's building on in the family as well that she didn't know about. So everybody's connected. That was the last location, the rehab. He called. They said she wasn't there. Oh, okay. All righty. So it just sounds like y'all need a little, and that's the purpose of this call, Ginger. So if you want to jump on here and you have the information, I may can search right here live and find a number for you or whatever the case may be. Or if you want to take it offline and do it private, just let me know. But whatever information you do have, I'm pretty sure if you have enough of it, we can get contact information for her and you can just reach on out. Okay, let's see here. And I'm assuming there was no father on his records. That's what I'm assuming. Okay. All right. So let's see here. We talked about strategies already. Okay. So looking back on your journey, what advice would you give to others?
One would be, don't get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated, but don't let it get the best of you. Especially if you're working on your own and you're trying to figure it out. If you need help, reach out. You need better understanding, reach out, because again, like I said, if you can't read that stuff, you're going to be confused, just as confused as I was. I think that one of the main things was, like you said, follow one lead. Mm-hmm. Don't be all over the place. You got one thing, just follow that lead. You can write down all your leads, but just do one at a time till you get to a dead end. Yeah, that was. I think that those are like the two main things. I mean, one more thing would just be always be ready for a letdown, because everything is not going to be all happy go lucky, all great, all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be ready for them shutdowns, because at first I didn't think my sister would want to talk to me. I thought she was going to shut me up, like, no, nope, I know who. But it was the total opposite. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, yeah, I'll be willing to take a test. I sure will, yeah. And once we found out, I mean, it was just like I said, it was like girlfriends. So you just got to be ready for whatever. You got to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for the worst. If you prepare for the worst, prepare yourself for the worst, and always think positive. Always turn the nose into something positive. Like the lady, she kept telling me no, but I said, okay, well, if you need your grass cut, you can call me. If you need this, you can call me. So I'm still trying to build a relationship with her, even though she said no to the DNA testing. That's fine. But I'm still trying to, in about a week, I'm going to call and say, hey, I was just calling and check on you, see how you was doing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a relationship.
And send stuff, like send cards, holiday time, send letters, and so on. Because even if she's not your aunt, she is related.
Right.
So it's a matter of determining how they are connected to you. And it's going to connect so many other dots on Gwendolyn's side as well once this DNA test is done. So, yeah, it's just a matter of being patient. The thing about Melody's situation is the age of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gwendolyn, I'm about to say Gwendolyn, but Melody is the baby of how many siblings? How many siblings do you have?
From my mother, it's 14.
Yeah, so it's 14. You're the baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're the baby. So it's 14 of them on her mother's side. So keep in mind, we're looking for somebody that's going to be 90 something, either not here anymore, or it could be somebody in their 80s that had Gwendolyn when they was a teenager, something like that. But we're looking for somebody in the upper 80s, 90 years old, born 1930 to 1940, somewhere in there. So we're dealing with older individuals now. Yeah, and Miss Gwendolyn said you got to be open-minded. My other tip would be to take great notes. Yes. So if you're going to be the person that's making all these phone calls, it's so easy to call that same number over and over again because you didn't take great notes. So I like to save the phone numbers in my phone, and I'll put, for example, Melody's lead second cousin, and I put the other person's name that I'm looking for in the notes on it. So have great notes, or if you're a paper and pen type of person, just write down the numbers when you call and kind of check them off. Sometimes if I forget, then I'll go to my phone and look at my call log. Because I don't talk on the phone, I'll tell y'all that now. I do not talk. I'm a texter. I will text you to death. If I'm on the phone with you, I really, really like you. So
oh, you must love me then.
I don't talk on the phone at all. So it's easy for me to go through my log because my calls aren't mixed up like that. So I can see any calls I really make is for my DNA clients. Other than that, I'm texting, or it's going to be somebody really close to me if I'm on the phone with them. But lastly, I'm going to skip a couple of these questions and we'll go ahead and close on out. But I'll see if anybody has any questions in this chat. But what patterns have you noticed throughout this process, or in your life general, even before you start this process, that you would like to end? Let me put the question up here. Like, what cycles? Because I want to say that's what motivates me and inspires me to hang on to my clients. Like, I never let my clients go. I don't care if it was somebody that locked arms with me 3 years ago. Even once I help them find their parents, it opens up so much in the family that other people are looking. And so I just keep trying to get the entire family closure. And I do that because I know that helping somebody is going to ruffle up some feathers So I don't want to be in a situation where I help this person but cause so much other chaos in the family. So I normally stay connected with them so that they have a third party that's not so emotionally connected. So, and help in these cycles. Right. I want everybody to know where they came from. Like, so these grandkids, after their parents is long gone, these grandkids aren't stuck trying to figure out where they came from. So what are some things that you've noticed from this process or prior to this process that you would like to end? Like, what cycles would you like to end?
I think the abandonment of the dad's not being there. My father wasn't there. My biological father wasn't there. My kid's biological father isn't there. So for me, it's very, very personal. And what I have 5 kids. I have 4 sons. I still, and all of my sons, you are going to be great men. You're going to be great husbands. You're going to be great fathers. And I say that all the time because I want them to be great men. And when they have kids, they're going to know their kids and they're going to be there for their kids. They're not going to leave them. You're going to be there to take care of them. I don't care what struggles you have, you're going to be there. That not deadbeat dad, that dad disappearing or dad not knowing, it's stopping. It's stopping. My kids are not going to do that. I'm going to know the girlfriends. I'm going to know the girls. They better know where I live at. They better know how to call me. I know your mama. Y'all got issue? Okay. Oh, you pregnant? Oh, he with somebody else? Oh, okay. Well, let me bring the baby over here. I got you. We not doing that.
Amen. That was a great one. That was a really good one. So like I said, this is personal for me. Now, I grew up in a 2-parent household. I wasn't adopted or anything. People ask me all the time, like, why is this so important to you? Even though I grew up in a 2-parent household, I only knew one side of the family. I never knew my mother's side of the family. I just felt like she just dropped out the sky. Like, I knew she had a couple siblings and I saw them every blue moon, but her parents died when she was 9 and 14. I remember I was about 2 or 3 years old. Only reason I remember this story is because my sister fell off of stool. But I remember meeting my grandparents one time on that side, my great-grandparents one time on my mother's side. But other than that, no family reunions. My mother was a straight loner. My mother relocated to Washington, D.C. from New York when she was 17 to work for the FBI. And so I knew nothing about my mother's side. So it was very important to me to figure that out. And how I got involved in this was actually helping somebody because I was a skip tracer for the government. So I've always been looking for people. That was just something I was good at. I was the one that did the job that everybody hated. So like, for example, when in that corporate world, you have these accounts. You know how y'all phones ring all the time in collections and stuff like that? People would throw away the accounts that had no phone numbers on it. I made so much money because I was the one working the accounts that had no money. And I'm sorry, they had no phone numbers and addresses on them. I would go skip trace to people. And so I was the only one calling them. So I made buku money in bonuses. I was so young, making a lot of money because of that. And it was a lady that was from Jamaica that owed a student loan. And we were talking, I found her in Jamaica. And the question she asked me had nothing to do about her student loan. She said, if you could find me, she was a doctor. She said, if you could find me, I know you can help me find my dad. And that was my first person that I helped prior to my mother. Yep. And that's how I thought she was just so shocked that I found her. So that's how kind of it all started. And then I built my mother's tree, found her a half brother she didn't even know existed. It's actually 2 of them. One had already passed away. She had 6 nieces that she didn't even know she had. We DNA tested all of them. And so many other family members, her brothers that had already died, they had kids. And so I found all of them. So it was just a beautiful thing. So there's so much positivity that comes out of finding the truth. You don't have to take these secrets to the grave. It's not doing anything but hurting the future generations that are coming behind you. And so many people carrying last names thinking they're a part of something that's not real. Yes, you may have been raised by the right person, but when it comes to health issues, when it comes to wondering why you look a certain way and you don't look like that family, it's a lot. So I just recommended everybody find out the truth. And you can do it absolutely free if you got the patience. If you have the patience to go through it, then yes. Now, some people's situations are a lot harder than others. But for the most part, if you're willing to do the work or study, you will do it. You'll figure it out, right? And so that's pretty much it. But yes, it's very important to me for people to end this cycle. Like in this cycle 100%. Bashing our men. Like there are some out there that are terrible fathers, they're deadbeats and they don't do their job. But in my experience and what I do, I have not encountered that. Most of the scenarios are men that had no idea the child existed. It's either the mothers was following the money. They were with the person who was the provider, the one that was going to take care of them kids. So they basically told that man the kids belong to them. Or they put the kid up for adoption and never told the father because maybe the mother was heavily involved in drugs, so she didn't know. But a lot of the scenarios, the fathers are very open once they figure out that they had a child. A lot of them just didn't know. Now, there are some cases where they was like, yeah, I heard about that, and they should have did their part, but that's not the norm. Most of the time, the father has no idea. That's why I'm very picky when people reach out to me about child support situations. I'm like, I don't mind helping you figure out who the father is, but you must allow me to DNA your child to make sure that we're barking up the right tree. Because I know how the state works. All you got to do is send a notice to an address that he used to live at. And if he don't respond, he's on child support and he's stuck. So, and I know how that works. So it's very important to me not to get caught up in that and have someone penalized for a child that doesn't belong to them. But yeah, I enjoyed this with you, Mel.
That's how Atlanta works.
Yes, honey. With the child support system, yes, you can go right.
I need to come down there then.
All you have to have proof of an address. They're gonna ask them to come to court. If they miss any court dates, if they miss the opportunity to do the DNA test, because they're going to send all of that in right into that address. If they miss any of that, then they're considered to be, what they call it, default or whatever, for not coming to court. And then, yep, they got to do it. They'll find out.
My oldest son, remember I told you I did the ancestry on him, and his cousin came up, and I went through his stuff on Facebook, and I saw that his father on there did child support, all the paperwork and everything, sent them to all the addresses that I looked up and everything. This person that showed up on my son's ancestry deleted their whole account.
I bet they did.
I know it's crazy. You delete your whole account. You knew the connection was from there.
Mm-hmm. They knew it. Yes, Gwen, I really enjoyed this. Okay. Well, that's it, hon. I think we've been on here an hour. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to next week. I hope you all are enjoying this. Ginger, if you want to invite your boyfriend to come on, I could answer his questions live as well. If any of you ever have questions, you don't have to just keep it in the chat. You can jump on StreamYard next week and I'll answer your questions live. And you can also go to my website at connectllc.com and you can anonymously put your questions there and I will answer them live. And I always forget about my event. I have an upcoming event. It's in January. And it's a DNA reveal party. I always forget to talk about this, but it's the first time I've ever done this. I'm excited about it. DNA testing has to be completed by October 14th to participate, but it's a 2-day event. And I'm doing the DNA testing and then I'm revealing the results at the event. We got the fire pit. An event on Friday around the fire. We have live music will be there on the next day. I'll be training people on how to read their reports, but I'm just going to play this quick video for you all really quick so that you can see what it's all about. All righty. So after this video, I am going to end the live. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been awesome. Mel, thank you so much for being my guest and such a great sport. And we're going to have all your answers soon.
Anytime for you.
Have you ever wondered what secrets might be hidden in your DNA? Join us for the most unique experience of a lifetime. Connect LLC's 2-day DNA reveal party in Marietta, Georgia. Dive into the mysteries of your family tree and uncover the truth that's been waiting for you. Whether you're searching for your biological parents, siblings, or just curious about your roots, this event is designed to connect you with the answers. On January 10th and 11th, step into a luxurious Lakeview home where we'll guide you through an unforgettable journey of discovery. From intimate fireside chats to the big DNA reveal, every moment is crafted to bring you closer to the truth. But remember, your DNA testing must be completed by October 10th, 2024 to participate in the reveal. Spaces are limited, so don't wait. Secure your spot today. Visit www.connectllc.com. That's KINNECTLLC.com. Or search DNA Reveal Party on Eventbrite to register and choose our flexible payment plan option. It's time to uncover your story. Connect LLC, connecting you to your roots.
Bye-bye.